Jennifer Niven is an American writer, screenwriter, journalist, and producer. In the early 2000s, she published several nonfiction novels such as The Ice Master and Ada Blackjack. In 2009, her novel Velva Jeans Learns to Drive won the Emmy and the Colin Higgins Award. It is a historical novel based on a short film she created. In 2010, she published a novel in which she recalled her high school years entitled The Aquanet Diaries: Big Hair, Big Dreams, Small Town. Internationally known, Jennifer Niven is well known for her best selling novels. In 2015, she wrote a novel for teens based on her experience titled All the Bright Places that touched the heart of many people. The story is about two teenagers, Theodore Finch and Violet Markey, who are dealing with their teenage problems. She is one of the most popular girls in the school, and he is a boy known as a monster by his peers as he is obsessed with death. Their love story begins when the two meet on the school bell tower as they both had plans to jump off the ledge. The two main characters entrust each other and soon end up becoming friends. For a school project, Violet and Theodore work together to discover their hometown, Indiana. Slowly, also thanks to this project, the two protagonists fall in love with each other, and Theodore will discover the real reason why Violet that day wanted to commit suicide. With Theodore's help, Violet begins to face her problems and overcome them. On the contrary, Theodore's disorder worsens. The boy suffers from bipolarism but refuses to be treated and hides his condition, which worsens Violet. One day, after an argument with Violet, Theodore disappears, and from there, no one will hear from him until Violet receives a goodbye message from Theodore. From this, she will realize that Theodore has drowned at the Blue Hole, one of the places they had visited, and frightened, she goes to the place where she sees the tragedy with her own eyes and is shocked. The film, directed by Brett Halley, was released a year ago by Netflix, with Elle Fanning and Justice Smith playing Violet Markey and Theodore Finch. Despite minor differences on the director's choice on certain scenes, both the novel and the movie begin and end the same way. In the novel, Jennifer Niven focuses on the pain of both characters caused by their past and their mental condition, while in the film, the director has decided to focus more on the emotions and especially on the love story between Violet and Theodore, and this can be seen as some of the scenes of Theodore's attempted suicide that are clearly described in the book have not been included. In the film, as in the novel, they do not specify the actual cause of Theodore's death. The director justifies his choice by stating that he leaves it up to the viewers to figure out the cause of the boy's death. Even though the target audience of the novel is teenagers, the story managed to engage the adult audience as well. The themes addressed by Jennifer Niven in the writing of the novel are real and perfectly describe the feelings and emotion that you feel when you are a teenager. The writer, in fact, writes the novel based on her teenage experience. The main theme of the novel is mental health. Jennifer Niven begins and ends her novel by highlighting these problems that plagues Violet and Theodore. Currently, mental health is finally being recognized as a condition that needs to be safeguarded. Before, it was not considered important, or rather, it was underestimated. Many teenagers face a variety of issues in their everyday lives, and sometimes they can lead to serious consequences such as suicide, the second theme addressed in the novel. Suicide is due to the unstable mental state of the person suffering from it. The novel begins precisely with the description of the scene of the two trying to take their own lives, each for a reason, but their action is due to a problem that plagues them. Theodore suffers from an undiagnosed disorder, and his mental condition worsens throughout the story. Violet, on the other hand, following the death of her sister, feels guilty and decides to take her own life to make up for her mistake. The two protagonists will save each other from death, and it will be the two of them who will make sure that they overcome this dark phase of their lives. Violet and Theodore live as spontaneous and true love stories that will lead them for a moment to relive life and to see it in color again. Mental health and suicide are two important topics in the film. Directed by Brett Halley, is aimed at raising awareness of these issues. Jennifer Niven and Brett Halley were able to make the audience realize that with the right resources and education, we can solve this problem that affects a larger portion of the population. Around the world, the suicide rate had increased more than it should, and especially this figure affects 12 to 14-year-olds. The novel, like the film, shows the path of inner growth of the two protagonists, facing their weaknesses and inner problems that pushes both protagonists to make inconceivable gestures during adolescence. The message that is conveyed by reading the novel and watching the film is found in the original title, All the Bright Places. Each of us faces and encounters obstacles in our lives, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and we can find happiness even in the smallest things. I chose to analyze this novel because it is different from the rest of the classic works treated most often. I had the pleasure of reading the novel in high school. It can be considered a teen novel, but the issues addressed are real and serious and affect all age groups, as mental health is a state of our health and well-being that we need to take care of. There are several factors that could damage our mental health, and if not prevented, it could bring very serious consequences to the person suffering from it, as well as their family members. I believe that these issues addressed in the novel should be dealt with more in school because they are seen as a situation outside the school walls, but very often it starts from them. I like the novel more than the movie because Jennifer Niven, in my opinion, managed to involve me more emotionally because she writes in a such way that her words manage to touch the heart. Not least, the novel is based on her own teenage experiences, and that's why it's affected me more than the movie. Also, after reading the book, her words made me think and held me open to people about my problems in high school. Lastly, despite the difficult themes that run throughout the story, the book flows quickly and lightened up thanks to the story between Violet and Finch that acts as the light in their dark and problem-filled lives.